I believe there are two main reasons that people don't tend to eat quinoa as often as we used to. One, it has a bitter taste, but today I'm going to show you how to get rid of that. And two, how do you cook it? Well, let me show you. I'm starting off with 100 grams of quinoa, which means I'll need 150 grams of water to cook it. Most directions on the package of quinoa suggest a 2-to-1 ratio of water to quinoa, but I find mine always turn out mushy and soggy and not very nice to eat. So instead, I'm using a 1 to 1.5 ratio, 1 part quinoa to 1.5 parts of liquid. We're going to start by rinsing our quinoa. The bitter taste of quinoa comes from the saponin that's on the outside of the seeds. This is a naturally occurring phenomenon that stops animals from eating the quinoa on the plant. We can get rid of that by rinsing very well. Because the seeds are so fine, you'll want to use a very fine mesh strainer to rinse off your quinoa. And you need to rinse it for about 30 to 60 seconds or until the soapy looking bubbles stop forming. If you haven't got a fine mesh strainer, you can line your regular strainer with a coffee filter, or you can put your quinoa into a cheesecloth, rinse it that way and let it drain. Alternatively, you could use a French press, rinsing your quinoa in the French press and then pressing it down and pouring out the water. These are just a few options if you haven't got a strainer. Add your quinoa to a bowl or a jar, and we're going to cover this up with water. This is a great time to check your quinoa for any bits of plant that might not have been removed. So you can see here, I've got a few little sticky bits from the amaranth plant itself. And we don't want that in our quinoa. So pull those bits out. I'm going to soak these for 1 hour on my countertop, but you can soak them in your refrigerator for up to 24 hours. When you're thinking about amounts and how much you need, every 1 part of dried quinoa will become 3 parts of cooked quinoa. So for every 1 cup of dry, you'll get 3 cups of cooked. Now that they've soaked, I'm going to rinse them 1 more time to make sure all of the saponin is removed. You'll want to let it drain for a couple of minutes so that the excess water on the quinoa doesn't upset the ratio when we're cooking it. You could even go as far as toasting this in a dry pan for 2 to 3 minutes if you like a little bit more of a nutty flavor. Add your quinoa to your pot. Then cover it with the required amount of liquid. And the great thing about quinoa is you can flavor it with whatever you want. So if you don't just want to use plain water, you could use vegetable or chicken broth. You could even add in spices, seasonings, even some miso paste would be delicious. But because I've just used water, I'm going to add in some salt. I'm going in with about 4 or 5 grams, just over a teaspoon. Pop the lid on and turn it onto the highest heat to set it to boil. As soon as you start to see those bubbles come up, turn your heat down to medium or whatever on your stovetop is going to give you a gentle simmer. Now set your timer for 5 minutes.
Allow it to simmer until all of the water has evaporated.
Remove it from the heat and without removing the lid, let it sit for 15 minutes. Do not, and I cannot emphasize this enough, remove the lid. We need that steam to continue cooking the quinoa. You can tell it's finished because you'll get the little squigglies that come out of the quinoa. They're like little sprouts almost, and you'll see those throughout the dish.
And now just fluff it up with a fork.
The quinoa is perfectly cooked at this point, but if it's still a little bit wet, you can actually just lay it out on a sheet pan and pop it in the oven for just a few minutes to dry it out. If you found this video helpful, I'd love if you head down below and hit the like or hype button and let me know in the comments what you're going to be making with your quinoa. And if you're looking for another great recipe, YouTube thinks you're gonna love this one. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.